This lens is going to change Sony APS-C, and I hope that you guys can get a sense of my excitement and my fanboyism when I'm starting out this video, because I am super duper excited to be reviewing this new lens. Now, this all started about 3 weeks ago when I got contacted by Sigma. And I got on a phone call with them. They were very, very nice. And that conversation ended with, we have something that might be right up your alley. And they sent me this lens a week later. And let me just say, it has been an amazing surprise. So let's jump into this review. This is the brand new Sigma 18 to 50mm F2.8 zoom. It comes in a small white box. Inside you get a user guide and the lens itself. There is a plastic front lens cap and a plastic rear lens cap, as well as a well-built plastic lens hood. This lens is a work of art. It is so small, so light, but yet feels so well constructed. Let's get through some specs. Weight is 286 grams, which is just about the weight of the Sigma 30mm f1.4, and it is right about the same dimensions as that Sigma 30mm as well. Now, this lens has two main competitors, the Sony 16-55G f2.8 and the Tamron 17-70 f2.8 Di3 AVC RXD. You can see here that the Sigma is significantly smaller. The Sony is 490 grams and the Tamron is 526 grams, so this Sigma is roughly half the weight, yet it is a constant f2.8 zoom just like the other two lenses here. So this Sigma is unbelievably compact and lightweight. It is currently the smallest and lightest standard zoom lens that is a constant f2.8 for APS-C mirrorless cameras. In order to keep the lens so small and light, Sigma used what they call TSC, or thermally stable composite, for the barrel construction, which makes for a strong and sleek finish, but it also has thermal properties similar to aluminum, which means that this lens will perform and operate well in changing temperatures. Sigma also used metal for some of the internal components because the parts can be made to be thinner and more rigid, which also results in a lens that won't fall apart with frequent heavy use. Starting at the rear, there is a brass lens mount with electronic connections. This lens has a fast and near silent stepper motor autofocus system, which I will discuss later. Around the lens mount, there is a rubber gasket for weather sealing. This lens is moisture and dust resistant, at least at the mount. Moving forward, there is a 0 to 1 indicator here because this lens is a 2021 model. In front of that is a focus ring that is not mechanically linked to the lens and therefore rotates smoothly and effortlessly in either direction. On top, you'll see the lens's specs, as well as the Sigma logo and a contemporary C logo here as well. Towards the front, there is a nice and grippy zoom ring that quickly moves from 18mm to 50mm. The mechanism is smooth and it sounds pretty good as well. Here, take a listen. Pretty good. In terms of zoom rings, this one is better than the Tamrons, but not as fluid feeling as the Sony 16-55. But if you have never touched the Sony G, you would never complain about it. The inner barrel on this lens extends about an inch as you zoom in to 50mm, and on the back of the zoom ring, you will see that the minimum focusing distances are very small, 0.121 to 0.3 of a meter, which means this lens can get nice and close to your subject for macro work. This lens is made in Japan. At the very front of this lens, there is a compact front lens element around which in faint writing you will have the lens specs again and made in Japan again. Inside there are 13 elements in 10 groups with 1 SLD and 3 aspherical elements. It has a 7-bladed rounded diaphragm. This lens is compatible with high-speed autofocus because of that stepper motor that I previously mentioned, and it is also compatible with lens aberration corrections depending on your camera model. Overall impressions of this lens, it is excellent. It feels exceptionally well built while being so small and compact and light. It is just so unexpected. Mounted on my A6100, it is a perfect pairing. The balance, the look, the design, I just can't get over it. This is a lens that immediately feels a little bit special, and that is saying a lot. I've reviewed a ton of lenses on this channel, and not very many of them feel very special. So I took this thing out with my wife, and I took a bunch of sample photos with it. Here they are, straight out of my camera, uncorrected, unedited. Ready, set, go. So I can summarize this lens by saying it is excellent. The majority of those sample photos that you just saw were shot wide open at f2.8 at various focal lengths from 18mm to 50mm, and you saw the shots are just nice and sharp, the colors are amazing, the bokeh is nice and smooth. As far as distortions, those were very minimal. Chromatic aberration was well controlled. Overall, this lens just does everything so exceptionally well. I usually have a list of negatives with any lens that I review, but with this one, there really isn't much I could say that is negative. Okay, it does have some flare when you shoot directly into the sun, but from the sides, the included lens hood did an excellent job of minimizing issues. And although it is well controlled, the chromatic aberration is still evident at times. But these are really nitpicky points, as neither one is a big enough issue to really be concerning. I'll show you some side-by-sides in a moment, and you'll see that the chromatic aberration control with this Sigma is on par with the Sony 16-55G. Autofocus on this Sigma was silent, quick, and accurate. This lens tracks the eyes well for portrait work, and even for video with my A6600, it stays on target very well. I did a few quick autofocus tests, and the responsiveness was good. It's on par with other constant f2.8 zooms. Out of my 100 or so sample images, I threw away just 3 of them because of missed focus, which is a very good result. Alright, so the question that most of you probably have is, how does this little Sigma compare to these two lenses, the Sony 16-55G and the Tamron 17-70? Now, I'm not going to go into a deep three-way comparison of these 3 lenses in this video, but I did take a couple of side-by-side sample photos, and here are the results. The Sigma is on the left and the Sony is on the right. Same settings on both shots and the same camera. You guys tell me which one looks sharper. They are remarkably close, maybe a slight edge to the Sony, but it's very tough to call. Even out to the bokeh and the chromatic aberration, look at the similarities. It is just unbelievably close. Here is the Sigma versus the Tamron. Even at 2:1 magnification, both look equally sharp to me. Here's another shot at 24mm wide open with the Sigma and the Sony. Amazingly sharp on both. Even as you move out to the edge, you'll see that the bokeh is similar, as is the color fringing here. The colors on the Sigma are a touch warmer, but apart from that, there isn't much of a difference between these two lenses. Here, the Sigma versus the Tamron is a similar story, but in this case, the colors are both warm, and the Tamron does have better chromatic aberration control on the edges. So based on those two quick comparison photos, I would say that the performance of this Sigma lens is on par, very equivalent to these other competitors. And that is saying a lot because the Sigma is doing it at half the weight, significantly smaller size, and at a fraction of the cost. Now, when I received this Sigma, I thought, well, great, Sigma is getting into the zoom f2.8 game, which is awesome. But I was expecting it to be a $900 to $1,000 lens. I spent $1,400 for the Sony 16-55G, and I paid $800 for the Tamron 17-70. So when I got a press release emailed to me, and Sigma said that they were launching this lens at a price of $549, I literally jumped out of my chair, ran over to my wife, and started jumping for joy. I was so excited because that is truly remarkable, because you're getting a lens that is $850 cheaper than the Sony, and it performs just as well. It's just in a smaller package that's easier to travel with, lighter in your pocket. So is the Sigma worth it? Without question. Do I recommend it? Yes, without hesitation. If you have waited for an all-around, walk-around zoom lens that has a constant f2.8 aperture, this is the one to get, and it's coming in at a price that really just, there's no reason not to get it. If you've been holding out, if you've always wanted a Sony 16-55G, but you never really wanted to spend $1,400 on one, this is a lens that performs for a fraction of the price. Now, do I wish that this Sigma started at 16mm like the Sony 16-55, so a little bit wider on the wide end? Yes. Do I wish it had the slightly smoother zoom ring of the Sony? Yes, it's a little bit more smooth and a little bit more fluid. Do I wish that it had the stabilization that was built into the Tamron? Of course. But At $549, I honestly do not care about those things. I think that there is such a spectacular value here with this lens that the fact that it starts at 18 millimeters does not matter to me, and the fact that it doesn't have stabilization doesn't matter to me, because it is a perfect small, portable, walk around, travel, take it with you everywhere lens. I didn't get paid for this video. It's not sponsored in any way. Sigma didn't tell me what to say about this lens. They didn't tell me to recommend it to you guys at all. These are just my impressions and these are my opinions solely. But when this lens came in, I played around with it for about a week, and I sent Sigma an email and I said, I'm not sending this back. I'd like to buy it for my own collection. That's how much I liked it. And I've never done that before with a lens that was sent to me as a loaner. So that says a lot regarding the overall impressions that I got with this lens just in a matter of a couple of days. So it is an excellent lens, highly, highly recommend it. If you are interested in reading more specs, I'll have those linked down below. You can also click that link and buy this lens. By doing so, that does support the channel, so thank you guys so much. That is going to be it for my review of this Sigma lens. Let me know down in the comments what your guys' thoughts are, what you think of the overall performance, and what you think of all three of these lenses. The exciting part about this is that, a lot of people were talking about APS-C's dead, APS-C's dying off, but here you have three examples right here of lenses that came out within the last 2 years that are all fast f2.8 walk-around zooms for the APS-C Sony E-mount system. So APS-C is not going anywhere if you ask me. So that's it for me. A special thank you goes out to Sigma for not only sending this pre-production lens out for review, but for creating one for us Sony APS-C shooters. It's awesome to see them doing stuff like this, and it's, again, a complete surprise. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.